Hello everyone and welcome to today's vlog. In this session, we'll be exploring one of the foundational aspects of writing and communication, sentence structure. Specifically, we'll take a closer look at four key types of sentences: simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Whether you're a student looking to improve your writing skills or simply someone keen on enhancing your understanding of language, this vlog will provide clear explanations and examples to help you navigate these sentence forms. So, let's dive in and break them down.
Hey, I was watching this interview on YouTube titled Student Council Vice President Candidate Interview of Rahim, and I noticed the sentences the speaker used were so different from how we write. Wanna discuss this?
Sure. Sentences are usually shorter and simpler, right? Let's analyze them by their structure.
Alright, here's an example in spoken English. So, I think I'd like to change that. This is a simple sentence, and in speech, they feel casual and direct.
Yes, in written English, it should sound like, therefore, I believe I would like to make that change. It is created to sound more formal, while in speech, it is used to convey quick and clear thoughts.
Okay, now listen to this. In speech, this might become, I think it's kind of a big task, and we need to step up to it. That's a compound sentence, because it has two independent clauses joined by and.
That's correct, because for written form, I think it will sound like, I believe that it is quite significant task and that we must rise to the challenge. Why it is usually used in informal speaking, it is used to connect related ideas in writing.
Okay, here's another one. Spoken English simplifies this to we can have LAN parties because we've got a lot of gamers on campus. That's a complex sentence, right? One independent clause and dependent clause.
Yes, for written form, it should sound like we can organize LAN parties because there are many gamers on campus. As you can see, it is more structured in writing for detailed explanations.
Alright, how about this one? In speech, this can be simplified too. So I think students haven't been involved enough in decision making, and it's a problem because the council represents us. That's a compound complex sentence. So spoken English uses all sentence types because it's usually simpler but with fewer compound complex sentences.
Yes, in written English, it will probably sound like, I believe that up to this point, students have not been sufficiently involved in student council decision making, and this poses a challenge because the council represents us to the faculty. In formal writing, it uses commas so that it can easily be read, and it is commonly used to express complex ideas. So, by gaining an in-depth understanding of simple, compound, complex sentences in spoken English, and by learning to differentiate between the styles of spoken English and written English, individuals can effectively convey their ideas based on the context. It enhances the listener's comprehension and fosters effective communication.
And the next tributes will be I volunteer! I volunteer! I volunteer! I volunteer!
We'll briefly explore four fundamental sentence types: simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. Each type serves a unique purpose, from expressing straightforward ideas to linking complex thoughts. Analyzing literary text through these sentence structures allows us to better understand the writer's intent, pacing, and flow. By examining how these sentences are crafted, we can deepen our appreciation of the text and improve our own writing techniques. Based on the novel The Hunger Games and the short story Cinderella, we have extracted one example each for simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences, along with an explanation on how its usage affects the emotion and meaning being conveyed. For simple sentence, we have return to the lake? No good. I never make it. Hope for rain. There's not a cloud in the sky. Keep looking. Yes, this is my only choice. The use of short and brief sentences is brilliantly used as a way to convey desperation within the character's emotion. For context, Katniss Everdeen was severely injured during the games, thoroughly fatigued, and definitely parched. As a result, the direness of the situation, including her deteriorating condition, leads to her exhausted mind frantically brainstorming solutions for finding a water source immediately and safely. For compound complex sentence, I lean back against the trunk of my tree, one finger gingerly stroking the sandpaper surface on my tongue as I assess my options. One of the main reasons why compound complex sentences are more commonly used in literature is because it creates a natural flow for the scene. This sentence is able to explain 3 different actions simultaneously in a way that feels natural. If the author were to use simple sentences, it would create a boring reading session, as the reader would have to constantly stop to read short sentences. Not only that, complex compound sentences also helps the author to add more depth and detail in their story in a concise manner.
The last one is complex sentence. As examples, in the evening, when she was quite tired out with her hard day's work, she had no bed to lie on, but she was obliged to rest on hers among the cinders. And as she always looked dusty and dirty, they named her Cinderella. Complex sentence is basically used in literary texts such as novels, poems, and short stories to create variety in sentence structure and avoid repetitive patterns. The dependent clauses in the complex sentences allows authors to provide the additional clause to main clause, such as to describe characters, explaining clauses, or conditions. In conclusion, the use of simples, compounds, complex, and compound complex sentences in literature, as seen in The Hunger Games and Cinderella, plays a pivotal role in conveying emotions and enhancing storytelling. Simple sentences express urgency and distress. Compound sentence shows connections between ideas. Complex sentences provide depth and explanations, and compound complex sentences allows for a natural flow of actions and thoughts. Each sentence structure contributes to creating a more engaging and emotionally resonant experience for the reader.
Good academic writing depends on using a variety of sentence structures to make their content clear and precise, while also keeping the reader engaged. Simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences all help writers explain ideas, show connection, and address complex topics effectively. Mixing these sentence types improves the flow of the writing, adds depth, and ensures that the content is clear, organized, and impactful. The source by Wenzel and Wakefield is a great source for exploring how both academic and social motivation affect students' performance. It also provides a solid example of how different sentence types such as simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences can be used effectively in academic writing. The article discusses how students' academic motivation, such as believing in their abilities and setting goals, works alongside their social motivation, including relationships with teachers and peers. When both motivations align, students are more likely to achieve better academic results. Let's start by looking at simple sentences, which have one subject and one predicate. For example, the article says, student motivation is crucial to their school success. It is clear and to the point, showing how simple sentences can communicate ideas clearly. The authors also use simple sentences to highlight key points. For example, social goals can influence academic motivation. It's short, easy to remember, and grabs attention, which makes it effective for emphasizing important ideas.
Now we will move on to the example for compound sentence. The sentence starts with performance or ego goals refer to the desire to demonstrate one's ability and outperform others. It has two independent clauses connected by the word and. Using and makes the relationship between ideas easy to follow and helping the readers to see the full meaning of performance goals. It can link related ideas and emphasizing their equal importance. This kind of sentence keeps things clear and smooth, plus make the writing easier to understand. Other than that, in the article also have example for complex sentence, which is when students focus on outperforming others, they are more likely to choose tasks they know they can do. It have one independent clause and one dependent clause with when as the subordinating conjunction. The purpose is to show cause-effect relationship for depth in argumentation. It explains that focusing too much on beating others lead to choosing easier tasks. The word when helps link the reason which is trying to outperform to the result which is picking simpler tasks. This structure makes the idea clearer and helps the reader to understand why students behave this way. It adds depth by showing how one thing influences another. Last but not least is example for compound complex sentence. The example is subjective task values refer to purposes for tasks and they are quite specific as individuals encounter different tasks. This sentence combines two independent clauses and one dependent clause. The purpose is to connect multiple ideas in a clearer and detailed way. It combines two complete thoughts, which is independent clauses, and adds extra information, which is a dependent clause, to explain more fully. This structure helps show the relationship between complex ideas, making it easier to give a full and also connected explanation in one sentence instead of breaking it into smaller pieces. It keeps the writing smooth and more informative. In conclusion, using a variety of sentence types, which is simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentence, can enhance clarity, flow, and depth in academic writing. Simple sentence can provide clear and straightforward ideas, meanwhile compound sentence can link related thoughts with equal importance. Complex sentence can show cause and effect or detailed relationships, and lastly, compound complex sentence can connect multiple ideas for comprehensive explanations. Together, these structures allow writers to express nuanced arguments, organize their information effectively, and also engage readers with logical and well-connected content. Mastering these types of sentence is essential for writing that is clear, precise, and also impactful in academic context.
In conclusion, the literary text section contains the most diverse examples of simple, compound, complex, and compound complex sentences. Through the use of these sentences structure in The Hunger Games and Cinderella, the emotional depth and narrative flow of the stories are effectively conveyed. Simple sentences express urgency, compound sentences link related ideas, complex sentences provide further detail, and compound complex sentences create smooth transitions, all of which contribute to a more engaging and emotionally resonant reading experience.